Hi, COP 2220 students. This is Dennis, and I'm going to look at the 2D array grades storing program that we were doing in class. So what I have in front of me on my screen is a structure chart. My structure chart came from Draw.io, and I'll show you that program in a minute. So the menu that this program has four options: 1, 2, 3, and 4. Add grades for a student, display all grades, and should have 5. I left off 1. Show average by exam and show average by student. Oops, no big deal. So that would go right here. After each of these, we're going to loop back up. Here's my do while loop. My do while loop comes down. Here's my get user choice. I display the menu, come back. Here's my switch. Here's my quit, and here's stop. How did I create that design tool? I used this piece of software, and it's called Draw.io. It's completely free. It's web-based. If you go to Draw.io, you can set up an account for free. You have all these different options, and I can drag and drop. And for example, I left off one of my options intentionally so I could show this to you. I can just bring one more in. So I'll just come in and I could say right here, show average by student. Something like that. And it would be pretty much that simple. I would grab one of these guys, drop it there, grab it here, drop it there, and I'm done. I could save it. And if I wanted to, I can actually print it. I would get rid of this guy, and I would say file, print. I'll print it. And this time I'm going to print it to Microsoft PDF. And I'm going to call this my structure chart for grades. Place what I have. And as I said, out on my, I'm going to delete this program. Here it is again. And that's saved, simple as that. And here's my show average by student. I guess I should have put my dots here, but you get the point. Okay, so there's the design tool for this program. The next thing we're going to do is actually write the program. And to do that, I did it in Dev C. So this is my 2D array grades program, my preprocessor directives here. Everything I did is in a function. So I have add grades, display average, display average by exam, by student. Here's my menu, my get choice, and I don't really need this, but here's my flush. I am passing the 2D array in each of these the same way by reference, because all arrays are passed by reference. The rows must be an empty set, the calls cannot. Here I am passing the E size to this add grades, and the reason I'm doing that is because, and I'm passing it by reference, here, not here, or here, because this is the only time I need to actually change it. So since I only need to change it here, I will allow this add grade functions to do so. I do not want these functions down here to have that power because they don't need it. All right, so in main, the first thing I did is I created 1, 2, 3 variables. So here's my user choice, here's my grades, and here's my E size. My user choice, my grades, and my E size. And notice my rows and calls are up here, and they are constants. They are constants. So I put 1,000 rows and 4 columns. So let's take a look at my setup. Here's my do while loop. My do while loop ends here, and I'm quitting when they press 5. As long as they don't press 5, I loop again. And case 1 is add grades. So here's my add grades. First thing I do inside of add grades is I make sure there's enough room. So if the E size, and that would be an error, if the star E size, because E size is an address, if star E size equals rows, then there's no more room for any more students. I pause, I return, and that's that. So if there is room, I clear the screen, I move down on the screen, and I loop across the columns, and across the columns only. And I say enter exam score 1 for student 0, enter exam score 2 for student 0, and so on. Here I'm scanning it into the array. Notice my rows are referenced by E size and my columns are this J. Inside of, the inside of this one for loop, I'm traversing across the columns. After I'm done, I added one set of scores for a single student, and I just increment E size so I can move to the next student. That is add grades. I want to display all my grades up here. I'm going to display all my grades. So in case 2, I want to display everything. So let's go down and look in display. Should have put this in alphabetical order. So display all grades. So I pass in the 2D array, I pass in the E size. I need 2 loop control variables, an I and a J. I'm going to delete this for now. I don't want to talk about that. First thing I do is I make sure there's room, and this time notice E size does not have an asterisk, so I make sure there's room. I'm sorry, not making sure there's room. I am making sure there's something to display. So if there are no grades entered, E size would still equal 0, and I'm going to tell them, hey, go enter some grades first, and I leave and come back, or I don't come down here. If there is a space, or if there are any grades entered, I would come down into this program right here. I would create some space, and I would, so again, if I have grades, I come down, create some space. Here is a header that I put on top of my grades, and to be honest, if this was a real program, I would want to redisplay this header, say, after every page was full. So I would count the number of lines on a page, and I would redo this header on top of every page. So I'm going to need a nested for loop. Here's my outer loop. This is going down the rows. Here is my for loop. This is going across the columns. So here is me saying print, and I'm tabbing over. This is the student ID number, or the number or VID, depending on what you call it for the student. Notice no new line. And here I am going across the 4 columns, displaying for student I, exam 1, exam 2, exam 3, and exam 4. After I display the scores for one student, I move the printhead down to the next line, go back up, do the next, do the same thing, and there's my display grades. There's my display grades. Real quick, I want to keep this video relatively short. I'm going to do the average by exam. So average by exam kind of looks similar to display grades. Here I am, average by exam. So in this function, average by exam, come on, computer. In this function, average by exam, notice this time I did not have an I and J here, and that's perfectly legal, even in Dev C, but there's a setting that you would have to do to be able to declare your I and J inside of your for loop, which is the preferable way. So I come in, if I'm going to do averages, I need to sum things up and then divide by how many. Well, the E size is going to be how many. So I make sure I have something entered. If not, I do the same thing I did before, I return. So now I'm going to go across the columns, because that's where the exam scores are going to be, and then down the rows. So across the columns and down the rows. So this is going to say exam 0 average score is something, exam 1 average score, or exactly exam 1, exam 2, exam 3, exam 4. Notice because sum is a int, I typecast it so that I can do an average. I display, I new line, and that's pretty much it. Well, here's my new line. I'm going to show you by student. Basically, by student, all I did is I flipped my loops around. So my exterior loop became the I loop, and the interior became the J instead of the other way around. All right, this video is about to hit 10 minutes, so I'm going to stop, and I'm going to hope that you are able to do this on your own without referring to this video, but I'm allowing you to refer to this video to make sure you get this right. So again, here's my header, my preprocessed directives, and I am going to stop because I see them at 10 minutes.